Hey there, welcome back to the course. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can use UI TextView inside of your applications and also how to constrain it with programmatic auto layout with nothing but constraints, all right? This is going to be super easy and I'm going to show you how to do it in this entire video, okay? So let's go ahead and let's head over to our note detail controller and let's constrain our text view onto this screen here, okay? So that we can type notes out. All right, so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to first declare a text view, obviously, or we're not really going to be able to do much with anything, right? So let's go ahead and say file private var text view. We'll set this equal to a type of UI text view, and we will return a text view to this variable. So we'll say let tf is equal to UI text view, and then we will say text view dot text. tf.text equals text or notes go in here. And we will say text view dot is editable, as not edible, but is editable is set to true. This will allow us to modify the text. If you don't do that, you can't actually modify the text. And then we will change the font to something like UI font.system font of size 18 with a font weight of .regular, okay? Next thing we'll do is we will return the TF, the text view, and we will now add this to the sub view and constrain it within a setup UI function we'll write right now. Setup UI, let's say file private function setup UI. And this is where we're going to add our subviews and make the constraints, okay, and activate them. So we'll also do that to the date label in the next video. So let's say tf.translates auto resizing mask into constraints is equal to false. And since this is outside of that, we have to put that in here, okay? There's no reason not to put it in there. Let me make sure I type this function correctly. There we go. And you just want to activate that so that we can use programmatic auto layout. Otherwise, you cannot. Okay, and we will say view.add subview, text view. And then let's go ahead and constrain it by basically just constraining it to the view on the left, bottom, right, and top anchors. So we'll say text view dot top anchor dot constraint is equal to, and we'll choose this initializer, returns a constraint that defines one item's attribute as equal to another. And if you want more detailed explanations of constraints in general, I have supplementary material that I will announce in course announcements as you take this course over the next few weeks. And that will contain links to articles and videos that are 100% supplementary and will help you understand these concepts better, but they are not required to go through. Okay, now we'll say view.topAnchor, and then we just want to activate it. So that's all there really is to activating constraints. So we just want to copy this and paste it a few times and do it to the leading anchor, which is also the left anchor. And then you got the trailing anchor, which is pretty much the right anchor. So if I type this out and read it, it says a layout anchor representing the trailing edge of the views frame, which is the right side. And then we have the bottom anchor, which is pretty obviously the bottom anchor. Okay, so now when we compile our application and go into this controller, we'll have a text view constrained programmatically to our view that we can type in. Let's wait a second for that to boot up. And we should be good to go. Let's go ahead and go into a folder, go into a note, and you'll see now that we have this text view that we can type into, okay? So that's all great, but it's not really constrained in the perfect manner, right? Like it's a little too close to the left. It's not really up too high, stuff like that, right? So what we can do is we can modify our constraints with constants. So what I want you to do is I want you to put it in about 20 points on each side. So the leading anchor will say constant 20. The trailing, we will say constant negative 20. So for the trailing and bottom anchors, the bottom of the screen and the right of the screen, instead of putting like a padding of 20, you have to minus it because it's relative to the center of the view. Okay, now for the bottom anchor, I think we should be good there. We could pull it up, but I don't think we need to. Let's think about the top anchor. We'll constrain this top anchor to the bottom of our date label, which we'll add in the next video. Let's recompile our application and just see what this looks like with the trailing and leading constants set. Okay, folder, note, and it looks pretty good, okay? Next thing we need to do is we just need to add that date label into the top of our controller and then constrain this text view to the bottom of it, and then we'll be ready to start creating our custom cells for our controllers, okay? I'll see you in just a second.